we call the top leaders in from the education sector, and this weekly series is presented by VW Education in association with VW Business World. And today's topic is future of higher education. Before I proceed, I want to introduce my two speakers today. We have the esteemed Dr. Balwinder Shukla, Vice Chancellor, MET University, and Dr. Atish Chattopadhyay, Professor and Director, JAGSOM. Thank you so much for joining us. I just want to put in a little bit of context before I go to my first question. We know that traditional universities are at a crossroads, if I may have to say. Now there are a few questions. Do they need to transform into new kinds of entities, optimize existing operations to enhance efficiencies and capabilities, do nothing in the hope that if no rescue appears, they will have time to decide what to do later, or last point, do nothing in the belief that they are invulnerable? So these are all broad and very relevant, I think, conversation points. I want to come to you, Dr. Shukla, with my first question. That let me touch upon the real thing, that now that education institutions have opened up and we have seen a year of closure, tell me, what has been the learnings, what are the big learnings from the last 11 plus months?
Thank you very much, Rohel. First of all, I would like to thank the VW Business for inviting me here. Last 11-12 months have been a great learning for all of us at personal level as well as at professional level, because something which we imagined, that Industry 4.0, how the Industry 4.0 is going to shape not only the industry but the education also, for which we prepared ourselves, and way back in 2017, our Honorable Chancellor Dr. Atul Chauhan announced very boldly the Education 4.0. Means that way we integrated the disruptive technology into our education and leveraged on the power of ICT in the education, teaching, learning, and assessment. So when COVID pandemic came, for us, it was not a difficult for moving from face-to-face teaching learning to the remote mode of teaching learning using the digital platforms. Though it was a big experiment for us, that all of a sudden overnight, you are not having the student on the campus, you're not having your faculty on the campus, and everybody is, in their houses, and you are delivering the education to them. So that was the first a big experiment, but which was very, very successful for us. And because the team was quite well prepared, because they were aware of, they were experienced of using the various tools and digital platforms beforehand. And so therefore this became very easy for us, and this also helped us to ensure that our academic calendar, which were announced in 2019-20, and that we were able to adhere to our academic calendar, and we will start our new academic calendar 2021 on time. But for a student, it was something a very, very big thing, because they were not able to see their fellow students face to face on the campus. Missing the campus life was one of the biggest pain for the student. And secondly, not having any social life for them, being only at home, that was also. So our university, apart from the teaching learning, did a lot of other aspects using the digital platforms. Started every day the yoga classes for the students online, for the faculty, their family members. It started the 24/7 online counseling. Even the student used to call, or the parents used to call middle of the night, say at 3 o'clock in the morning, they will call, that I'm not able to sleep and I'm having anxiety, or I'm having this issue. And our very professional counselors were able to help the students. But what also the learning came, this COVID has given that the student got that opportunity to be with their family, with their parents, and learn and discover their relationships and build their new relationship with the family, which they missed for many, many years. And that I got the feedback from my fellow colleagues also, from this faculty also, that they are able to reinvent their relationship, which because of the fast pace of the professional life, they were missing out so many things. And they were also the new word, the new disruption, COVID pandemic, and also the technology disruption. They also at somewhere blurred the timings. It's not the 9 to 6. The timing became, you are having a meeting at 11 o'clock in the night also, or 9 o'clock, or it's morning 8 o'clock also. So the timing became, the redundant. It became that how do you serve the students the best? And everybody objective was that students are the first for us. If a student is calling us at 11 o'clock in the night, we will not say, no, this is not the working hours, but will serve. So therefore, the timing has gone away. Important is to build the relationship, help the student, and their learning is the most important. So therefore, this 11 months has given how to leverage on the technology and make the students to choose their own curriculum, to choose their own timing of the studies, and have their own pace of learning, and only how we become more of a support and facilitator for the learning, not the that dictating the education or teaching is more important. The learning became the primary focus for the university as well as for the student and the faculty.
Right. Rightly said. I think all of those things that we talk about, that teachers are your second parents, I think that thing was put to test during these times, and I think everybody has lived up to those expectations. So rightly said. I want to come to you, Dr. Chattopadhyay, with the same question. Your personal and professional experience of going through a period where the physical classrooms were missing and you yet had to maintain a certain kind of connect with your students. What have been the takeaways, and how do you see that period? Sorry, your audio is muted, sir.
Thanks. It was about preparedness for facing uncertainty and ambiguity. I think that's what we talk about, and this was an opportunity to demonstrate that you walk the talk.
Right.
So one of the first requirement was that how do we prepare, because this was a reasonable anticipation that this is going to come, because it had already started happening in Europe, the US, and hence there was a requirement for preparedness, and we started preparing as to how we are going to make sure that there is business continuity in the face of disruption. That was the first requirement.
Right.
And it was important that we quickly get our faculty and the students and our support staff come together to understand this is going to last for a long duration.
Right.
And hence, there is a need to continue with our regular operations.
Mm-hmm.
And once that part was understood by stakeholders, so even before the lockdown happened, we had meetings with the faculty, with our support staff and the students, saying that this is going to be a long haul and we need to prepare. And that's what made us go through the entire pandemic, so to say, in a manner where we continued with our regular operations as per schedule. And when I say that, it was about admissions happening as per schedule, the delivery, the assessment. We had to move to online assessment and go to a platform. We use Metal for that. Then the convocation. We were one of the first to have the convocation in the middle of pandemic in June, where Honorable Speaker of Lok Sabha, Shri Om Birla, actually was the chief guest, and we had it as per our schedule. We continued with our placements as per schedule, and we placed the graduating class of 2021 by the end of December. But more importantly, it was also about stakeholder engagement. How do you engage with your board, your alumni, your recruiters, and your aspirant groups, and the larger, stakeholders who are actually watching you. And there's a responsibility as academic institution to the society, because this is where you can really engage with your young generation at a time when there is a stress in the system. I think some of the key learnings which came up, And this I say because I personally taught, during the height of the pandemic. Okay, as a teacher, taking full courses, doing the evaluation, doing the assessment, creating the, being part of the group to create what will be the examination guideline for an online exam. Okay,
Right.
what kind of proctoring is required, how you set the question, how to evaluate, what are the issues. Those were real challenges. And I think our group, faculty group or support staff and the students came together to actually devise those, nitty-gritties and those processes which made us through. But the
Right.
key factors which I understood was that the whole issue of empathy. Because when you
Right.
are taking a class on an online platform,
Right.
there is a student group which
Right.
has their own issues who are behind the screen. How do
Right.
you interact? Okay. What are the challenges they face when they attend a class from their home? Okay. Not everybody is as comfortable because the space may be a constraint, the connectivity may be a constraint, the device may be a
Right.
constraint. So I think key factor was never about technology. The first
Right.
most important factor was empathy. The second important factor, and very well, articulated by Dr. Shukla, the issue of wellness and fitness. How do you remain both physically and mentally fit? We were very fortunate because as an institution, we have a program called Personality where our students take required courses in building one's fitness, whether it is
Right.
gym, whether it is yoga, whether it is Zumba, and we continued that online, which also involved one-to-one and also group interactions. So wellness and fitness
Right.
was the second important factor. The third important factor which we focused on was self-discipline or self-regulation. Because when you are not in a formal environment, the requirement of self-regulation becomes
Becomes a
paramount.
cost.
So how do
Absolutely.
we train or sensitize all our
Right.
stakeholders, whether it's faculty, whether it's support staff, whether it's the students, to inculcate that self-regulation and discipline? And
Right.
lastly, how do we interact in the digital media in terms of, how do you present, when do you switch on, when do you switch off, and what are those etiquettes which needs to be
Right.
followed when you are interacting in the digital media? All these were very important factors that we considered. And since we addressed these issues, I think we stood in a good state when, as the pandemic unfolded. As a matter of fact, we were back in action. Our classes started fully from November onwards, and the
Mm-hmm.
faculty and the staff was back in campus from July onwards. So I think
Great.
we did not take the hit to the extent maybe some others might have been hit.
Yeah. I know the response, the way you have responded to this crisis has been innovative. My next question to Dr. Shukla is, we have also, where you touched upon this in your previous answer, that innovation and new infrastructural changes, like we have gone digital first in our approach in the wake of the pandemic. Tell me, what is the role of these emerging hybrid learnings that we call it? Now you have a physical and a virtual. How do they pan out from here as we move on to a more physical world wherein the vaccine is also around? What would be the kind of learning that we foresee? The infrastructure that you developed during the last 11 months, will it stay relevant as we move on? And how do you plan to leverage it to the max? Sorry, your audio is muted.
Very good question. See, the technology is going to be the way of life, and the technology is not going to go away. Even the new normal, which we're calling that post-COVID. So, how to leverage the technology is very important. And in these 11 months, whether it's the faculty or staff or the student, they have really got used to it, and they're enjoying it in many ways. And so therefore the technology will always be there. So now we are calling it a hybrid learning, where we have done the recently a survey of our student that we are planning to open the campus. Would you like to come to the campus, or would you like to study from the home? So we
Okay.
have
So you're
got the
giving
way
them the
that
choice. You're giving them the
we are
choice.
giving the choice to the students. So we found that about 50% of the students do not want to come to campus. It's only 50% of the students who want to come to the campus. So we are doing at the moment the planning that how do we, which are the set of the students we bring the first, because we are the comprehensive university. Except hardcore medicine, we have all disciplines, right from the management to engineering to law and all. So how do we bring the students and we maintain all the government's norms, social distancing and everything. So with this 50%, when we plan that, okay, we bring our final year students first, and we are given the choice to the student whether you would like to come to the campus, attend the classes, or you would like to do it from home. So where
Right.
the almost 80% of the students say they would like to attend the classes online from home and would not like to come to the campus. So only 20% of the students of the final who want to come to the campus for attending the class. But otherwise, for the projects, they will come once in a week whenever they are required. For the lab-based courses, they will come whatever the schedule, because they need to do the certain experiments only in the labs, because we have created very nice virtual labs. So the students have done all kind of the experiments in the virtual labs, but then there are certain things which they want to do on campus. So for that they are coming, they are willing to come, and they are very happy that their university is opening and they will come to the campus. So therefore what we are planned that we will give all the freedom to the students, that learning should not be compromised, but they should be their choice. How would they plan when they would like to come to the campus? They attend their theory classes from anywhere in the world, because we have the large number of international students also who have gone back to their countries. They are not able to come because of the travel restrictions and many other well-being and safety issues. So how do we really? So what we have done, we did the staggered way of academic planning. The student who can come first, we finish their lab classes first. Projects, the student will come the later, will do their lab experiments later on, the assessment later on. So therefore, the hybrid way where the leveraging on the technology will always be there. We did our online examination for all the disciplines. We used our own platform. We have developed very comprehensive platform, as well as the third party platform, the metal. Again, we use the uh, VBox also, but we found the metal is the much better platform. And but
Right.
we adopted our open book examination, so we have our own platform, very comprehensive platform, and which we developed at the record time. Our IT team developed that, and we found that the students are and the faculty are finding the open book examination more challenging, but at the same time that is giving much more learning to them, because that is making them to study more rigorously, because the open book will have always a very challenging questions than the what normal examination system used to be there. We developed an infrastructure where the students are able to interact with the industry and are
Right.
able to have the real life problems of the industry and working on the design projects. Okay,
Right.
which
Right.
earlier they were not able to get that many projects from the industry. What they have got during this COVID time and post COVID, now they are getting the student during the semester are able to do 2 to 3 online real life projects with the industry. So therefore the industry orientation has all of a sudden has increased many folds. We always focus on
Right.
the industry relation, but the COVID has really given a great opportunity. So therefore this is able to build the futuristic skills where the innovation, creativity, design, thinking, and use of the technology. And also this has given another opportunity to the student to communicate a lot. Earlier what used to happen, only few select students used to communicate, but now for every student it became mandatory to communicate when they are attending the classes, because classes is not the one way of communication,
One way.
because where
Right.
we are providing the complete e-content to the students beforehand. In the class they have to come and interact and present it. So that
Right.
became for every student. We have got the feedback from the student, and they said that it has given an opportunity to us to present our learning in the class, which was not that much when it was the face-to-face classes. So it has been many ways this hybrid mode of teaching or the online mode of teaching, where the faculty and students are interacting, the group exercises have breakout groups are happening. And that has given in a way that a new way of learning, and I think this
Learning, which is here to stay. Yes, which is here to
and
stay.
it will continue.
Great. Brilliant. I mean, also the wonderful thing that you have given your students the choice. I mean, it's no longer that compulsion that they have to rush be at 10 a.m. and mark themselves attended. I think we have already undergone a big, huge change. Mr. Chattopadhyay, if I want to ask you the same question about the role of hybrid learning from here, what the infrastructure that we built during the last 11 months, how do we leverage it? Do we dismantle it? Do we keep it? How do you see that being part of the larger conversation around the future of higher education?
I think the infrastructure was pre-existing. Otherwise, this transition would not have happened. That is one. However, programs like, say, we have a very interesting program called Learn from Home, which is PGDM Learn from Home, LFH.
Right.
Programs like this, which were actually taken with a pinch of salt, has started gaining momentum, because learning from home, interning from home, okay, which is learn and intern, which we call the learn-turn model. These kinds of experiments, which were earlier not accepted, the
right,
which were not very well accepted by the stakeholders, have gained acceptance. I think that's the key. So our LFH program has seen a jump in its admission numbers, okay, and so both the models will be existing. So there will be coexistence of physical classroom-based learning or campus-based learning, so to say, more than classroom, I would say campus-based learning, and learn from home, which will be more of online. So it will be, both the models will be coexisting. At the same time, there will be a third model where the participants will have the option to be either on campus or attend online. I think that's this kind of coexistence will start happening, but the programs like LFH, which was earlier, not as popular, will gain momentum and popularity.
Great. This is another aspect I want to touch upon. Okay, okay. Dr. Shukla, I want to ask you about, there's another aspect to it. The faculties, they have also kind of adjusted to it, and we should really see this as a great thing, because they had to suddenly have manage home and also teach and kind of balance both. Tell me, what are you doing to upgrade the faculty from now onwards, because they also need to get adjusted to this online way of teaching? Are you running any special programs for them? How are you also emotionally supporting them as you are doing with your students?
See, what we did the moment we moved from campus to the remote mode of teaching, the first of all, we establish a support system for all the faculty member, that if they have any difficulty at any time, they can call at the help desk. So the university will extend all necessary support to them. And because that was a very, very critical time, and because everybody had the anxiety and fear that what will happen with this COVID and all those things and lockdown. And so that's the first thing we did. When we are saying about the yoga and this thing, yoga was also for the faculty also. Those yoga classes were happening, and then also the online counseling was not only for the students and their parents, but it was also for the faculty members. And because we knew that we are moving 100% in using the remote mode of teaching and using the digital platform and various ICT tools, which were being earlier used, and a lot of new ICT tools actually came during that time. So we conducted the large number of workshops for the faculty online, how to use the various tools. And also when faculty experimented any new tool, they came and shared that how did they use, so the other faculty can also learn from, and they experiment whether that particular tool can be useful for a particular type of subject or not. And that's the first thing. So we also organize a large number of webinars, nearly 2,500 webinars by the experts from across the globe. We
2,500 is a huge number. Wow.
And every day around 15 to 20 webinars were being organized in various disciplines, so the faculty and the student having interest in those areas they were. We also organized around 150 plus faculty development program. Specifically, there's a 5 days faculty development program or 7 days faculty development program for experts from India and abroad, so that we
Right.
can have the latest, what are the ways of the teaching the student, and then faculty and all. Also, we organize nearly around 30 plus conferences, the big conferences where we are having the experts, because that also gave a lot of learning to the faculty also, that the digital platform is one can be used for everything. We
Right.
organized a mega youth festival, which we call the online youth forum, and where we had the more than 14,000 students from across the globe participated in the various competitions. And that was in the month of May we did it, because that was the peak time of the COVID. And that's so the faculty had a great learning, and that's how you are able to engage the students not only in the class but in the extracurricular and co-curricular activities, so that we can do a lot of, because in our university there are large number of student clubs,
Right.
the specialization based clubs and all this, so that gave us so much encouragement to the faculty and the students. So our club activities increased many folds than what we used to do earlier. So the talent hunt and many things started happening. And also because the UGC's MOOCs were there available to the faculty, so we encourage all the faculty that you look at which is the MOOC course they can do, not only of the NPTEL MOOCs. We have our own Amity MOOCs, lot of the courses are they can do, or even they can do from the other universities if any MOOC courses are available to develop
Right.
their skills and competencies. So therefore the Amity has focused a lot on the faculty's development, and which is
Right.
resulted into higher research outcome from the faculty.
Great.
The number
Great.
of publications increased, number of the consultancies increased, the funded projects also came, large number of funded projects during this time came,
Right.
and the teaching learning effectiveness also increased manifolds, because we introduced the peer review of teaching online. So the faculty
Right.
used to go, and the senior faculty will go and attend the class and see how the online classes being delivered and how the interaction happens with the students. So that also improved manifold. So we have really focused, because we believe that it is only the faculty who can make the difference
right.
to the teaching, learning, and the research outcome of
Absolutely.
the university. So the whole focus was on the only two stakeholders, the students and the faculty.
And the faculty. No, absolutely. I think these are some wonderful initiatives, and the number of kind of programs that you're running is really impressive. Mr. Chattopadhyay, well, what has been your story like as far as nurturing faculty during these times, and also helping them readjust to this new what you call normal? Yes. So your audio is on mute, I guess.
I think I am audible.
Yeah. Yes.
So let us understand that when somebody is attending a class online through a platform like Zoom or Teams or Impartus, it's a different kind of a experience. So first of all, understanding of the platform is important. What the platform enables? Does it enable a breakout room? How does it create a poll within the classroom? Okay, what kind of quiz one can give? So of course, familiarity with the platform for those who are delivering. But more importantly, we want us to understand what is happening on the other side of the screen in terms of those who are actually in the process of interaction. Ultimately, teaching learning is a process of interaction where the faculty and the students together co-create and discover new knowledge. Okay. Otherwise, if it is just information dissemination, you can just play a recorded video, it can happen. Okay. But the reason why come to what we conventionally call a classroom is because we want to co-create knowledge. Okay. Where there has to be an interaction. Now, how do we facilitate that interaction? What our experience stated was very interesting. to focus on the screen for a longer duration is a challenge. Okay. How do we keep that engagement on? That was the first question. Number two, there are multiple hands can go up simultaneously, and at the same time, chats can also keep on coming. And how does a faculty who is at one side is interacting with the students, on the other side is also the chats coming in? How do you actually manage that? That's something which one has to cope up with and understand that medium is very different from a physical classroom. And let me tell you, our experience is that online delivery is far more resource intensive than offline. Okay. So what we did was to have two faculty together going to a class. Okay. Which means that more often than not, one is looking at the class interaction in terms of the chats, who is raising the hand, and flagging it off to the lead faculty, okay, or responding to the questions. So for us, each class was actually being delivered by two faculty simultaneously, okay, and that really, to my mind, made a lot of difference. Number two, as you can see that you said that you unmute or mute or somebody's screen is not coming up. So it takes little additional time. So what you can cover in X amount of time in a physical classroom setting probably will take X plus time. And one has to account for those flexibilities and inbuilt in our system. So ours was more of a learning based on capturing the experiences of the previous class of our own faculty, coming together as a group in a faculty group, understand how the media is unfolding, how the behavior of those who are both learners and those who are delivering the learning, how their behavior is unfolding on that medium, and then make those adjustments. I think that's how we continuously kept on improving and developing. And we got the QS eye gauge and all that, but our faculty teaching feedback actually was very high during this whole pandemic period, which was a very satisfying element, I would say.
Great. This brings me to my final question. We have around 10 minutes left. Is that, while we have all adjusted to this online system, what we're also witnessing is somewhere inadvertently, we are competing with new bold online players in this space, who are also there, Tell me, how is the rise of a parallel system, that is also into education and learning, impacting the traditional and legacy players like yours? Dr. Shukla, first to you. Sorry, it's on mute.
Yeah. See, this is a question in everybody's mind, because during the pandemic time, a number of parallel systems are also coming. But what is going to matter for the long term is the quality and how well you are aligned with the one side, the requirement of the industry. Secondly, the what value you give to the students, that, and also the quality that matters. See that some institution, some organization, and especially the industry-based organization, they may offer one course or out course. That does not make a degree. Okay. Though in times to come, when we look at the industry 4.0 and beyond, they're talking about only the skills, and that too also the higher order cognitive skills, where the analytical ability, the creative thinking, or the design, or creating something, or that kind of the skills are. But again, what you learn in a program, comprehensive program, when you have the holistic development of student, because that's the most important is where you have the holistic development of the students, where the values are also there, the skills are also there, the knowledge is also there, and the developing the overall personality of the individual, where person can deal with self, deal with the society, and also contribute to the profession, whichever the profession one takes over. And therefore the education institutions will remain there, will flourish
Right.
if they are able to leverage on the technology. No, number one. Secondly, they review and update their curriculum faster than ever before. Means that you need to review a curriculum every 6 months. Earlier,
Right.
maybe some university were reviewing in 10 years, some were in 3 years. We used to review every year. Now we started reviewing now every 6 months, that
Right.
we have to see what is the
The
new change.
the time period has come
Time is
down. Right.
reducing. That means you have to increase your speed, and you have to very quickly. That means that your learnability, the ability to learn new things, whether it is to review the curriculum, whether to bring the new technology or the pedagogy, or whether you have to quickly change the skill
Right.
development assessment, because at the
Right.
end of the day you have to create that employable youth.
Right.
Employment means everybody will be looking for the placement. How you bring that the students look for the new opportunity, start their own ventures?
Right. Right.
How do
Right.
they, if they're going back to the family business, how they bring the add value to the family business? So
Right.
therefore, the employability from the point of view that how the student can add the value to the profession, whichever the profession he chooses, whether he starts his own venture. So therefore, we at MIT, we are focusing more on entrepreneurship development.
Great.
And
Great.
that's the way that a lot of focus we have got. And if the student want to join back the family business, we are mentoring them, grooming them, how they can go and add value to the family businesses. And then
Great.
the rest who want to go for the corporate world, then how they can add value. So that's why during this time, we have got very good response from the industry even for the placements. So today we are having that the 27 companies are on the campus on digital platform. They are not physically on the campus,
Yeah.
but on digital platform,
Yes, sir.
27 companies are doing today the recruitment of our law students only. So
Right.
that's why the focus is the how you are developing the right skills which are aligned with the industry requirement. So there will be no dearth of the graduates from the of the universities.
Right. I think, yes, I think that is the beauty of legacy institutions, that they are able to tide through a tough time like this. Ms. Chattopadhyay, your quick thoughts on the parallel rise of this parallel learning industry, and how are the big players adjusting to it?
First of all, this is not a parallel rise, okay, because most of the institutions today, if you look at it, has joined hands, leading institutions, with what you call the parallel rise of the online players, okay, and many of them are actually offering those courses, top universities, including the Indian universities as well. So my thoughts on how education is going to change, okay, going forward, since you asked this question. Education will become a platform-driven service, if I have to say, where there will be three important choices which will be available to the participants or the students. Number one, choice of institutions. And that's what the National Education Policy also talks about. So as a participant or a student, one can take courses from across institutions. They may not be registered to only one institution. So somebody might take a liberal arts course in maybe presidency or a JNU, a engineering course maybe at IIT, and a design course maybe at NID. I think that will be possible. Okay. So first of all, choice of institution. Number two, choice of courses. So it will become which course a student would like to take. That is also up to the student, and which faculty. So the choice of course, choice of faculty, and the choice of institution will lie with the students. So where we see today students being enrolled to an institution will change to students being enrolled to courses. Similarly, the way we see that the faculty is contracted or employed by an institution will also change. So faculty will also become part of the gig economy, which means their services will be available and institutions will be free to avail of the services. Okay. And education will become institution independent, faculty independent, and course independent. Students will be able to curate their own learning pathway, their own curriculum, and as they finish particular credits, they will get certain certifications, maybe a course certification, a bunch of courses, maybe a certificate, then a diploma, and then a degree. Again, the NEP talks about the same similar kind of a thing. So it will be also time independent. Based on its requirement, the students will keep on learning, relearning, and learning will become lifelong. So that change is going to be a major change where the students will be curating their own curriculum, and the institutions, the way we see them today, will change. Essentially, they will need to accept students, credits, and faculty and say which is equivalent to what credit and how many credits together will qualify as a certificate or a diploma or a degree. The institutions will become de-institutionalized. I recently wrote an article called De-institutionalization of institutions. Okay. With with Ulrich Hommel, who was the quality head of EFMD. So I think what we are going to see in the future is de-institutionalization of institutions. That is number one, and number two, from the students' perspective, the education will become institution independent, faculty independent, and course independent. These are the changes which will happen going forward.
Brilliant. I think it's been a great conversation today and a lot of takeaways, for everyone who was listening to us, right from how Dr. Shukla said that, pedagogy needs to a constant, the revision time has come down, and holistic learning will always be of value no matter the rise of those online players, and legacy players have that advantage. And as you have pointed out, sir, that de-institutionalization, and the rise of gig economy in academics, I think these are very, very valid and relevant points. Thank you so much, Dr. Shukla and Mr. Chattopadhyay, for joining us on Wednesday Wisdom, presented by BW Education in association with BW Business World. We had some questions, but unfortunately, due to the time crunch that we have, but I would definitely reach out to you with those questions. Thanks again for joining us, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you.